So, what does it really mean to be great? We're about to dive into this powerful story about ambition, struggle, and the incredible realization that maybe, just maybe, the journey is the whole point. Listen to that. A wise traveler once said this, and it really sets the stage. We're not talking about a physical challenge here. This is a journey that's going to test your spirit, your will, your very soul. And this is the story of a boy, Kai, who actually chose to walk that path. He starts out with a dream, but what he finds along the way, well, it completely changes his idea of what strength even is. Let's follow him and see what he learns. Every big journey starts somewhere small, right? For our hero, it all begins with a spark, an idea, in a quiet little village. But this was a spark that was about to become a wildfire. In Kai's village, becoming a great one was the ultimate dream. For most kids, it was just a cool story they'd hear. But for Kai, it was something else entirely. It wasn't just a dream, it was this burning, all-consuming desire. Now here's the interesting part. Kai wasn't the strongest kid. He wasn't the fastest either. So what was his secret? It was this relentless, unyielding determination. His real power wasn't in his muscles, it was in his mind. And that's our first big clue here. And you know, that kind of inner fire doesn't just come from nowhere. His parents really laid the groundwork. They taught him that real strength is about character. It's about hard work, being humble, and just refusing to give up. These were the tools he was going to need. Sooner or later, every dream gets put to the test. And for Kai, that moment comes when a mysterious traveler shows up. Suddenly, this abstract dream is about to get very, very real. And honestly, a little terrifying.
And this traveler, he does not sugarcoat it. He basically says, look, this is going to cost you everything. And even if you give it all you've got, there's no guarantee you'll make it. That's a brutal reality check, right before the journey even starts.
So what do you do when you hear that? Most of us would probably pause, right? Think it over. Not Kai. His response is so simple, but it says it all. He knows the risk, he accepts the cost, and without skipping a beat, he just says, I am ready. And just like that, the real test begins. This is the part of the journey that's going to push him to his absolute limit, physically, mentally, and spiritually. The challenges come in waves. First, it's the stuff you'd expect. Raging rivers, wild animals. Then, the world itself seems to turn on him with brutal storms and impossible terrain. But you know, the hardest part? The emotional toll. One by one, his companions start to turn back. And that's a moment I think a lot of us can understand, right? That feeling when you look around and realize you have to finish the journey alone. But that fire inside him we talked about earlier, that was the only thing keeping him warm, the only thing that kept him moving forward. Okay, this is it. The climax, the final boss battle. Everything he has endured has led him right here, to the base of the mountain of trials. The ultimate test of his will. Just try to imagine it. Every single muscle in his body is just screaming at him to stop. The air is getting thinner and thinner. Every breath is a fight.
This isn't climbing anymore. It's a battle against his own body and that voice in his head telling him to just give up.
And then, after what must have felt like forever, he does it. He pulls himself over that final ledge, just as the sun is setting. He's made it. He's at the top. But what did he actually find there? And this, right here, is the heart of the whole story. The real reward wasn't some treasure waiting at the summit. It was the change that happened inside of him on the way up. It's like this light bulb goes off. He realizes greatness isn't a place you arrive at. It's a process. It's a lifelong journey of growing and learning and persevering. It was never about conquering the mountain. The mountain was just the teacher. The path was the real point. Exactly. The whole point was everything he had to learn just to survive. The strength he built, the resilience he found, the raw courage it took to just keep going. That was the prize. And here's the most profound part. After all that struggle, Kai realizes he hasn't arrived. He's not a great one. He's just taken the first step on the path. And in that moment of humility, he found a strength that was truer than anything he had ever imagined. See, Kai wasn't born strong. His journey made him strong. He forged his resilience in the fires of his own challenges. So the question this leaves us with isn't whether you have strength. It's what journey's out there waiting for you to build yours. What's your mountain?